Hi everyone. It's Dark and Twisted Alleys, episode 2, where we're discussing another great film noir, Out of the Past. And with me today, as always, is F.R. Jameson. Please,
Hello,
F.R.,
Debbie.
give us the brief intro for yourself.
I'm F.R. Jameson, and amongst other things, I write noir novels, and which collected together under Screen Siren Noir. So if you look for, say, Diana Christmas, whether you get ebooks, you'll find me.
Awesome. And I too am a writer, crime writer, mysteries, the Sam McRae mystery series, as well as the Erica Jensen mysteries and other books as well, and screenplays and so forth. In any case, let us talk about this wonderful, wonderful movie, Out of the Past. What are your
Yes.
thoughts about Out of the Past?
Watching it, to give a quick preface of it, just in case, there are people tuning in who've never actually seen this film for whatever reason. Um,
It's
Robert,
shameful.
Robert Mitchum is a garage attendant, runs his own garage, I think, and someone from his past emerges who takes him to see gangster Kirk Douglas. Um, he has history with Kirk Douglas, and that Kirk Douglas once hired him to find Jane Greer, who not only stole money from Kirk Douglas, she shot him and didn't kill him, obviously. Mitchum tracks her down to Mexico, and the two form a relationship.
There was a little business, about $40,000.
I didn't take
How
it.
did you know it was taken?
It's what you meant. I don't want anything of his or any part of him.
Except his life.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything except how much I hated. But I didn't take anything. I didn't, Jim. Won't you believe it?
Baby, I don't care.
Before moving away from where Kirk Douglas can find them, except they're tripped up by Mitchum's old partner, who Jane Greer kills, and the two of them go their separate ways. Mitchum's brought back to Kirk Douglas's villa, and there is Jane Greer, who is now back with Kirk Douglas. I'll start the presses there. I think that is probably the first third of the film.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I've seen this film more recently. I've seen Double Indemnity beforehand, so I've seen it the last 2 years. But it's still an amazing amount of plot this film crams into its 97 minutes.
It is. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
And the thing that kills me about this movie is it goes against so much of the advice that you hear out there about writing screenplays. Don't put a flashback in like right right before these people get to know these characters. Have you not seen Out of the Past? Have you not
yes,
watched film noir? I mean, flashback is used in film noir in so many different movies and in such ingenious ways, and it works. So what is the problem with
well, it can work.
flashback? Hmm?
It can go horribly wrong as well, but it,
Well,
it
that's
absolutely
true.
works here.
It
Yeah,
absolutely totally works here. It made me want to get a
yeah.
copy of the screenplay, frankly, because I wanted to.
Mm.
I mean, I just revel in not only in the way this is structured, but in the dialogue. The dialogue is
Yes.
just crackling. I mean, there are lines that I've written down that they're so good. You know, the one about where she says, "Is there any other way to gamble? There's a way to lose less," or something like that from him.
Yeah,
There are ways to lose slower.
yeah.
Some of his smart remarks are just so fantastic. Yeah, we can all go
There's the
to the
line
bar together
where
and try
the
to cool off and try to impress each other. I love that line.
I'm probably going to misquote it, but it's the line where the guy who's her would-be boyfriend his blonde, rather insipid girlfriend, who would be boyfriend. Um, he says to Richard, it's like, yeah, I came here to kill you. And Richard just says, who hasn't?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's just great. And he tosses them off just perfectly.
Yeah,
It's like I can't even imagine anybody else in the part almost.
no,
But he was so
no,
perfect for it.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
I think for I mean,
yeah.
another thing that will probably get it frowned at from you have a proper screenwriter's perspective is when you get to that middle bit where he goes to San Francisco and then is embroiled in this plot. I mean, I've now seen this film. I've seen it twice in the last 2 years. I've seen it before that, and I'm watching that thinking I still don't quite follow all that's happening.
Jeff,
Speedy, how are you?
where you been? Did you marry some honest dame?
I went in the gasoline business down the line.
But you're looking for me now, ain't you, buddy?
I went out of business. Come on, let's take a ride in your hack.
Buddy, you look like you're in trouble.
Why?
Because you don't act like it.
I think I'm in a frame.
Don't sound like you.
I don't know. All I can see is the frame. I'm going in there now and look at the picture. I don't have to tell you to wait.
No, you don't have to tell me nothing.
My name is Jeff Bailey.
Oh, yes, Miss Carson said you were going to pick her up. I'm Leonard Eels.
How do you do?
Bring him out here, Leonard.
Thank you.
Hello, Jeffrey. I always wanted my favorite cousin to meet my favorite boss.
Have a martini?
Thanks. You know, Mita always talked about you like you were the ninth wonder of the world.
She skipped one.
Well, Mita must be the eighth.
All women are wonders because they reduce all men to the obvious.
And so do martinis. So nice here, I hate to go.
Don't then. Why don't you both stay and have dinner with me?
Yes, why don't we?
We can't, Jeffrey. We promised the Biglows, remember?
I'll call them up. We can see them anytime.
We can't, Jeffrey. I'm sorry, Leonard.
Some other time then. How long have you been in town, Mr. Bailey?
I don't really know.
You're on business?
You might call it that?
Where are you from, the South?
No. Tahoe.
We must go, Jeff.
All right.
Your cousin is a very charming young lady.
No, he isn't. His name is Norman, and he's a bookmaker in Cleveland, Ohio.
It's all
Right.
moving very quickly and getting here. I think you kind of get the broad, overarching strokes of what's happening. In actual looking
Admittedly,
down of what I'm actually supposed to be taking from this, I'm not sure this all adds together.
it does. Oddly enough, it does. Because I really followed this time and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what Leonard Eels was doing. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, then, Well, it's the kind of double-crossing stuff that
Yeah.
is becoming more popular in fiction, sometimes to the point of, oh, you've totally broken my suspension of disbelief. I've had that happen on a book recently, one that I was really deeply involved with, and then boom, the ending comes and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And yet somehow I don't feel that way about this movie. I mean, the people in it are also devious, except for the
Yeah.
so-called innocents, let's call them. I was struck, of course, by the fact that this girl, this young woman, had fallen for him so quickly that she was willing to jump into a car and drive off to Tahoe with him after, after leaving, kind of like that, like, oh, we're off to Tahoe. Let's go. I have to tell you all about my past.
Yes.
So that you don't hear it from anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole setup there is in itself so much, and then the movie moves on and there's more.
Yes.
And I think the question that occurred to me later was, what motivates him to go back to see this guy? And I think it's all summed up in the line, I'm tired of running.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of running, and that reminded me so much of High Noon, which is interesting because that's a later movie. So
Yeah. Yes, it's about 5 years later, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, yeah. With a different political climate, let's say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was just really interesting
He's
to
he's
think
he's
about that.
kind of he's kind of caught up in a kind of twisted passion for Jane Greer,
Hmm.
but which for most of the film isn't love. I mean, it's
Right.
sort of love in the flashback sequence, and it's kind of also when he sees her again at Curtis's place,
Mm.
and from that point on, it's like he cannot be free of her, even though ideally he wouldn't want that. He subdues himself. He builds his own gallows high.
Yeah, yeah. This,
That's the thing with the ending of. I mean, watching the film, thinking he doesn't actually do that much wrong for his ending to be he's
no.
gunned down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he doesn't. He doesn't really.
no,
He doesn't strike me as a bad person.
no, he lets her get away with murder
Yeah.
of his partner, but then his partner was attempting to blackmail them. So he just wanted to be left alone. His partner showed up to blackmail him, and she killed him. But he lets her he does let her get away with that. She kind of flees before he could stop her, even if he wanted to. But it's
Hmm.
like from the point he goes back to Kirk Douglas's house and sees her, it's like he's in this trap that he can't or won't extricate himself from anymore.
It's
And
almost, yeah.
that's there in the ending of I mean, one of the flaws of the film is how insipid his new girlfriend is, and how compared to Jane Greer or Rhonda Fleming, who's in a much smaller role, who's in like a two-scene part. That she's not a lot. She's by far the least interesting female character in the film.
Yeah, yeah.
He kind of let he doesn't want her to mourn him, so it's fitting that the kid apparently the assistant's name is only ever the kid. So I was kind of looking up on the credits. What was he called? His kid. The kid. Yeah,
Just
the
the
kid
kid.
tells her yes, he was going to go away with Jane Greer, even though that
Yeah,
wasn't the
that
case.
wasn't the case. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it would leave her feeling like, oh, okay, it wasn't going to work anyway.
Mm. Yeah, so she will then go off and marry the other guy, and
Who frankly struck me as dull.
they're both dull, though. They're equally matched.
They might both be dull, but I thought she would be happier with Mitchum. But that was
Yes,
just,
obviously. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, who wouldn't be happier with Mitchum? I mean, the guy is just more interesting anyway,
yeah.
and more fun,
Yes, yes,
and more intelligent. But yeah,
yes.
so I guess what is the point of the movie? Is it that we can never escape from the horrors of our past, or what?
I mean, that could be. I mean, unlike Double Indemnity, this is your proper um, film noir set after World War II, and I don't think it's. I don't know. Is it ever stated he's a veteran? I don't know if it ever is, but
I don't think it is. No.
no. So, but he fits more in that milieu of it's someone with a violent past who cannot get away from it,
Hmm. Yeah,
which
yeah,
Double Indemnity is made in the war, and that's not Fred McMurray's character.
yeah, yeah.
But this is a guy whose past literally catches up. The film's called Out of the Past.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And it's like, from the opening, like where the guy just happens to drive through town, right?
yeah,
Or maybe not. Maybe he's kind of narrowed down where this person is. Maybe he identified the gas station. I don't know. But,
yeah,
he sees the sign and all of the rest. So it feels almost random in a sense, like random fate intervening.
yeah.
Because,
But it is the kind of the gods having bigger plans. I mean, I thought just occurs that David Cronenberg's History of Violence is also a man from the past living in a small town where the wrong person essentially drives in
mm-hmm,
and recognizes him for who he is.
mm-hmm.
So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of you're literal. You cannot escape from your past.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
will come and get you. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. You got to deal with it.
yeah.
And he deals with it in a rather odd way.
He's very much the smartest man in any room. Presumably his
Yeah.
garage is running very efficiently, and he's on top of everything. He's very much the smartest man he ever come across. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I especially loved when he went to that club and goes in through the side entrance, goes right up the stairs, and then just
yes.
punches the guy.
What do you want?
Yeah?
The man just went up heading toward your office.
Forget it.
Want to see somebody?
I just saw him, thanks.
Yes.
That takes the files. Oh, I love that part. That's another thing. I mean, it's like these days you see a lot of movies that are real tense and suspenseful with lots of twists, but they're so serious and they have to make long
Yeah.
speeches.
Yeah,
There are no long speeches in this movie, and it's funny as hell at
Yeah.
parts. And yet it's suspenseful. It's there are all these double crossing things. People are double crossing each other all over the place. You're always wondering what's going to happen next, who's going to die, who's going to, all that stuff.
and it helps you've got it helps you've got like three very charismatic people at the center as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah,
both wrote. I mean, this is one of Kirk Douglas's earliest roles,
that's right. Yeah.
and he's really seizes on it to do the kind of, you know. Does Kirk Douglas ever play your straightforward hero? I guess we're like the Jules Verne adaptation is probably something like that. He's often just either your bad guy or he's your good guy, but a malicious bastard at the same time. Yeah. And this is kind of him
Suppose so.
perfecting what he does.
Trying to think, he has a huge body of work, and it's like,
Yeah. I'm sure there are westerns where Kirk Douglas is just unambiguously the good guy.
oh yeah, there are.
Although it does seem an
absolutely.
odd use of his talents.
Well, he was great. I mean, and seeing the two of them, I noticed a lot of times that they would be pictured together rather than like separate shots over the shoulder kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's like the two of them were in this kind of dynamic relationship where Kirk his character said, people don't quit me, you
Yeah.
don't walk away from me. Nobody does. I tell
Yeah.
people when they're done,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of, they're both trying to exert a kind of control over each other.
Yeah.
And so the dynamic between the men is just as important as the dynamic between Mitchum and I can't think of her name.
Jane Greer.
Jane Greer, thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I'm losing my mind. Anyway, Jane Greer and he have this relationship, and then he has a relationship with Kirk, with that character
Yeah.
that I've forgotten, of course. Even though I've
And
seen the movie numerous times.
Yes. It is a movie that bears up to rewatching because
Many
there is so
times.
much in it.
There is so much.
It's
Yeah.
certainly a film. You made it today, they would make it over 2.5 hours long.
Oh, no, that would be wrong.
I know.
That would just be wrong. I mean, I just love the economy of the storytelling, the way it keeps you guessing, the
Yes.
the way that if you watch it numerous times, you can find something, you find out something different each time.
Yeah.
To me, that's the fun of this movie. It's like I like being confused and having to figure it out, maybe. Because I like movies like that. So I
Yes.
think that's part of the allure of film noir, that there's so much guesswork, there's so much intellectual stuff going on behind all the pretty pictures and all the snappy patter.
And by the nature of the genre, there is a lot of double crossing and people not being able to trust each other.
Mm.
That's the very nature of what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't get straightforward people doing straightforward things. They're all twisty and thinking of other angles.
Yep.
It's interesting. I
Indeed.
mean, it does feel. I was watching it and thinking and watching it from sort of the Jane Greer character's point of view, and I think it does make sense. But she's very much at the end. It's not Kirk Douglas. She's the bad guy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Douglas doesn't die on screen.
Right.
Kirk Douglas, you just see his body. She's killed him off screen. That's in a way, it's a shame, as you'd like to see the death scene of that character, but equally, in stating that it's the actual Godzilla versus Kong battle between Mitchum and Greer is what we're dealing with here. It kind of makes sense that by that point he's not important enough to die on screen.
Wow,
She
isn't
is
that
the important
interesting?
one.
Yeah, I mean, she's
Yeah,
really like, she's the one who's driving everything. He
yeah,
drives her to find her. She steals the money. She shoots the partner.
yeah.
Is it her idea to set him up in the second part of the movie? Interesting thought. I don't
She's certainly
know.
working. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
certainly the integral part of the plot.
of the whole plot. Yeah.
Yeah,
She, whether she came up with the idea herself or what's his name did, you know, her Kirk Douglas there.
yeah.
How come I can't think of his name? Jeff Bailey and somebody. It's not coming to me for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay. There's Wanda Fleming as well as the other person. She was very
Hmm.
good in her two scenes. As
Yeah,
a
yeah.
side note, yeah,
She's just like this little thing they throw in there, like, oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Come in, have a drink. We'll go by the office later, yeah, or his apartment or whatever.
yeah.
And then this whole scene where he's up there with his drink going, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but I'll just play along. Yeah. Oh, I'm your cousin? That's
Yeah,
nice.
he plays along until she leaves the room, and he
And
just
she
then
leaves the
tells
room
the man what's happening.
so your cousin is a such and such? No, no, my cousin lives in Buffalo and he has a bowling alley.
Yeah.
Whatever it was he said. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here other than leaving my fingerprints around.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, there's something fishy about this whole thing, isn't there? Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
But as
fun.
as I said, you don't need to follow the intricacies at
Hmm.
that point. I think you've just as long as you've had the broad strokes of they're
Exactly.
setting him up for something, he's then going to double cross them, and that's the way it then spins out until the end, where she wants to get away and he's already set it up. That's not going to happen. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he was gonna get rid of her one way or the other.
yeah,
Unfortunately, he had to die in the process because she shot him.
yeah,
And So it's like, oh, well, so be it. That's noir for you. Things end badly. Yeah, it's interesting because I was going to say something about something else that I can't remember now. Something about oh, I know that the first time you watch this, really, it's more like kind of like a roller coaster ride. You're just going along for the ride, even if you don't understand every single thing that's going
Yeah.
on. It just feels like such a great ride that you want to take it again.
Yes.
So every time you take the ride, you will see the machinery, the works more closely with each viewing. That's what I think. And it just gets
Yeah.
better. Just gets better and better with each viewing. And I just love Mitchum, period. He's just one of my favorite figures from that time.
I know, and it's. I mean, he obviously did have a very long career, but it's the same. There aren't many. Yeah, there aren't huge number of great films in there, as he was not very discriminate in what he took. He just kind of, yeah. There's a story of he was offered Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch, but was offered another film being shot in Mexico at the same time, so I'll just do that one.
Hmm.
And not really, not really positioning himself for the kind of heir to Bogart he could have been.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess not. That's
Yeah.
kind of a shame because he's so good. He was so good.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
he's that kind of this slow talking languidness does lend itself to being the smartest man in the room.
Mm-hmm.
It does it in a way it's kind of not a wise guy type way. It's kind of it makes it more apparent that he's 2 steps ahead of everybody else, even when he's not moving that fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you
Yeah.
know much? Do you know much of Jane Greer's other work? 'Cause she's
I don't actually. I would
no,
love to know more.
yeah,
That'd be something worth exploring, maybe.
yeah, yes.
Because
So she,
she's just perfect in the role in this movie. She's got all this like innocence about her face, but like Barbara Stanwyck, she carries a lot of gravitas behind that pretty face.
yes, yes. So she does in kind of having to switch back and forth to you know, even though Richmond doesn't believe her what's about together, and she tells him that she loves him and wants to be with him.
Hmm.
She does make it believable.
Hmm.
You could see that someone else would buy into what she's offering.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yes,
is. Yeah, it is believable. And
yeah, it's believable she is so dangerous.
yes. Yeah.
Which is also what Rhonda Fleming does in her 2 scenes. I'll be honest, I was thrown a bit when he goes to Jane Greer's house um, after it's all been set up for him. I did at first think that was Rhonda Fleming walking in, and it took me a few moments to realise, oh no, he'd actually gone to Jane Greer's house. It's a question of how did he know where she is, but
Good question. Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
is
think that's what
amazing.
threw me most of all is how does he know it? How does he locate it? But again, it's kind of the broad strokes of he's a very resourceful man.
Probably looked her up in the phone book. Yeah, that I love the line where she's on the phone and the guy says, "Careful, those dames listen in." And I thought, I wonder how many young people would catch that these days. Those
Yes,
dames.
yes, it's a whole other world. Together the switchboard operators and
We're not talking about the NSA here. We're talking about telephone operators.
yes,
Back in the days when they used to have to plug you into a switchboard. Yeah.
But neither of us is old enough for that, though.
Oh, God help. No, heavens no. I'm only 29 or 39, something like that. Jack Benny was only 39 for all of his life. So, yes. Yes, who remembers that stuff? But the other thing I love about this movie is not only the structure, but just the way it's filmed. I mean, the use of shadow and light in this is
Yes.
just so beautifully done.
Well, Jacques Tournier had made the previous Val Lewton films. He made Cat People, which is all shadow and light.
Hmm.
Like you don't actually get to see the monster in Cat People. It's all represented through shadow, and he is an expert at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, he also has a couple of quite good Technicolor westerns under his belt, which doesn't really seem. It's not what we know him for. It's the kind of more moody black and white pieces is how we think of him. But yeah, he does do extraordinary well. He's got an economy of filmmaking. It does look extraordinarily good. I got that image I have behind me right now is I mean that's the publicity still, but it does kind of represent the kind of the sheen of the film.
Exactly. Yeah, it gives
Yeah.
totally the tone, the mood of that
Yeah.
movie. The look on his face, the lighting, all of it.
Yeah. And if I'm thinking of where there are flaws in it. I mean, there's the scene towards the end where like Kirk Douglas's henchman sort of creeping up on Robert Mitchum by the side of a stream, which is one of those odd missteps of the scene. I'm never overly convinced by that.
Saved by the kid.
Save the kid with the fishing line, and also Mitchum seems to be standing there. It's like that's one time in the film where he doesn't seem the smartest man in the room. He's just standing there lighting a cigarette. And I was thinking again, because it's famous broad strokes. Going, I thought you were luring him into a trap. I didn't realise that he would actually be able to get the jump on you. But that does appear to be the case if your deaf and dumb young friend hadn't had a very long fishing rod, a strong grip that he could pull a man off a cliff.
Well, at least pull him off balance.
Yeah.
Or interrupt his.
Yeah, that's a kind of potato thing. Is
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, we'll go along with this because it's a movie. And because we don't like this guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's one of the few. Yeah, it's one of the few scenes in light that really stands out more for a being a weaker scene and also not fitting in that well with the rest of the film. It's suddenly in countryside. It's suddenly in daylight. And you do have the scenes on the Mexican beach earlier on, but that's kind of falling in love. Mostly, Robert Mitchum could also almost convince himself that Jane Greer was also a creature of the daylight as opposed to one of the shadows and light.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, we have less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
So we have to wrap it up within the next 10 minutes. 9 minutes.
Yes.
Let's see. What else can we say about this movie? Oh, as film fatales go, where do you rank Jane Greer as opposed to, say, Barbara Stanwyck in Double Indemnity or other film noir?
I mean, I like her a lot. But she's kind of gorgeous and delicate. She's a properly dead. She's not kind of pushed into it by circumstances. She seems, she will get her own way, just kill whoever's in it. Seemingly kill whoever's in her path.
Yeah, she does seem singularly determined to succeed in the sense of having money, having power, having her way, no matter what. and is willing to kill to do it. So that's pretty pretty
But
pretty.
Mitchum isn't a kind of, he's not a dupe to her. He's not kind of so
He's like a
enraptured in her.
partner
Yeah,
in twistedness or something.
yeah. But he's obviously fascinated with her. He's obviously entangled with her, and it's a very dark place he's got himself into. In that he doesn't walk away from her.
Mm-hmm.
He has with he did it with her the first time going high to San Francisco away from Kirk Douglas. So theoretically, I suppose he and his blonde girlfriend, whose name is Virginia Houston or something like that, could go and hide away in Cincinnati and not have Kirk Douglas or Jane Greer bother them. But he doesn't do that
Mm-hmm.
because now she's there. He's not going to let her go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I think about, have you ever seen the movie Detour?
Yes.
Yeah, compared to is it Anne Savage who played
Yeah.
the who played the main character, who played the main female character in that? Jane Greer is almost nice compared to her.
Yes.
When I look at that movie, I'm just like struck by how vicious that woman is
Yeah.
compared to so many femmes fatales.
I
But
mean, she's incredibly alluring, and the deadliness is there. Um, she's obviously well, yeah. I think she's more overtly dangerous than Barbara Stanwyck in Double Indemnity, even if we do accept that Barbara Stanwyck has killed someone before the film begins.
that's true, yeah.
Yeah,
So we don't
but
find that out until we get into the movie. Yeah.
she is more overtly dangerous.
Hmm. It's a good point. Yeah, and she tries to put one over on an insurance company as
Yeah,
opposed to just people out trying to outsmart each other.
yeah.
Although
I
actually
think, I
you've
think
got
that
the
Jane,
angle of the tax angle, which,
yeah.
it's almost, like if you don't know about the tax angle, you'll do fine with the movie anyway. It's
I
like
don't think that
just go
Jane
for the ride.
it's quite. The
I
other
don't
thing about
know.
Jane Greer is literally the first thing we hear about is she shot Kirk Douglas.
Yeah,
She
that's
shot him
right.
and she's taken his money.
Yeah, yeah. But we're not really sure
He's-
about it until we find out at that crucial moment when she shoots the partner, right? I mean, we
yeah.
don't really know for sure.
Doesn't she does say though, doesn't she? Doesn't she
Did
say that
she?
she did? Yeah, I think she
Okay.
does say that she shot him but didn't
Okay.
mean to hurt him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I shot him, but I didn't mean to hurt him. Oops.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That it's
Yeah,
just
these
kind
things
of
happen.
self-defense or whatever it was. Yeah, it's kind of. And then later on, you think that she'd probably, just failed to kill him. I mean, yeah,
Uh,
enormous
you've learned to
bonus
be a
up
better
around
shot.
90. Yeah.
She has to go to the gun range and do some
Yes.
do some target practice or something.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, as I say, she is the bad guy in the film
For
to the
sure,
point
yeah.
where Kirk Douglas dies off screen because it's not.
Because he's actually not that important. I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of the whole scheme. That's funny. It's funny
Well,
as hell.
maybe we see him as more important because Kirk Douglas is so charismatic in the role, and so it's so vital. If you did get hold of the screenplay, you'd read it, you could see this played by someone a lot less accomplished,
Yeah. Yeah,
and it would
somebody
just
who's a
make a lot
little
more
more in the
sense.
background, yeah.
Yeah,
But Kirk Douglas kind of demands your attention.
yeah,
He has that on-screen presence that just kind of does not overshadow Mitchum, but somehow
no.
they share that space very well.
Well, they're both still very young and very virile, but they have very different energies.
They
In
do, yeah.
that kind of laid back Mitchum thing is not something Kirk Douglas can do. He is much more your human dynamo, bristling with energy.
Yeah.
That's there the thing, because like Volovich should stay still, and Kirk Douglas sits down and he flicks coins across his fingers. Kirk doesn't stay still in the same way. He is a force of nature.
He has a lot of pent
Which
up
makes, yeah,
energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
which makes him as a more, yeah, stranger but fitting that Jane Greer kills him off screen. As it is a further demonstration of just how dangerous she is and how important to the story.
She is.
And possibly just the only way that Mitchum can stop her is by sacrificing himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he sacrifices himself. He saves the girl that he would have taken the wrong way or whatever.
Yeah.
Taken away from her parents who hate him so much,
Yeah.
etc. Her community, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, so it goes.
Yes.
Yeah. So next time, I believe you said you were interested in The Killers.
Yes, the second version, not the first version.
Yeah, the second version's really good. I was kind of surprised at how good it was. The first version's good too, but the second version, that'll be great.
Well, I've seen the first version, but I've seen the first one, but not the second one. So yeah, we could just watch films both of us have seen many times already, but it'd be good to try and surprise ourselves as well. So I've never seen the second one.
Try something new. Well, I've seen the second one, and I can tell you that it's good. I can tell you that much.
I look forward to it.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you, and
great talking to you too.
If you're out there, people out there watching are enjoying this and have their own thoughts about the movie that we discussed, feel free to chime into comments or wherever. And don't miss the next exciting episode of Dark and Twisted Alleys on Film Noir. And be seeing you